Welcome to the Motivational Medium podcast. I'm Anne-Marie Lord, a psychic medium, author, and the founder of the Motivational Medium Academy. On this podcast, we'll explore intriguing topics such as mediumship, psychic abilities, and the amazing idea that we all have intuition within us. Whether you're a believer, skeptic, or somewhere in between, get ready to unlock your extraordinary potential as we discover the supernatural world together. If you want your questions featured on the show, be sure to join my tribe by subscribing to my newsletter at annemarielord.com. Let's go. Hello, my friend. Welcome to today's podcast. I wanted to talk to you today about reincarnation and soul contract. What does that mean? You may have heard people talk about past life regression and other people saying that they've known someone in a previous life. So I wanted to debunk it a little bit and try and normalize it and try and let it help you in your everyday life or see how it can help you in your everyday life. So I'm not a massive expert on past life regression, even though I went and trained and done NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and I'd done some hypnotherapy training as well, so that I could take people through this spiritual journey and this past life and see what happened. And why I wanted to do that was because I've had a couple of past life regressions now, and the first one I ever had gave me a massive healing. So I wanted to talk to you guys about it today and hopefully give you a little bit of an insight into reincarnation or past lives and how they can help us in this everyday life. So what is a past life? So some people think that we have lived many lives before, and some people also suggest that we can live past lives with the same people that is in this life, only in a different circumstance. I had a beautiful, beautiful uncle. His name was Charlie. He was absolutely gorgeous and I loved him very, very much. Now, the funny thing about this is I was surrounded by a lot of my family growing up in Liverpool, and Charlie was never in our circle in Liverpool. He lived in Belgium for a long time, and then he lived in Devon all of his life, really, Devon and Plymouth. But me and Charlie always had a special connection. We didn't know what it was. I loved him very much and I knew he loved me. And yeah, we were in and out of each other's lives along the whole of the journey, really. And unfortunately, a few weeks ago, he passed away, which I felt really sad about, but I know that he's free from all his pain and all his suffering. Anyway, why I'm mentioning my uncle is because he was such a lovely man, very straight man, like straight in his words and, you know, how he communicates. And he used to make me laugh and he had some amazing stories to tell. And I used to really feel quite comfortable with him and I had this amazing love for him. Now, I know a lot of you may think, well, isn't that like a normal situation? Because I have a lot of love for my uncle. But as I said to you before, my uncle was never an uncle who lived down the road. He lived miles away. But when we got together, we always felt like we'd never been apart. And that lasted over all of his 86 years and all of my near 60 years. And what happened one time, I went to see a lady who was doing past life regressions and she took me through a few lives. Now, I'll come back and talk to you about this because I got a lot of healing from this past life regression that I'm going to explain to you in a moment. Physical healing. Obviously, I was bringing something from a previous life and I'd brought it into this life with me. And yeah, I got some healing and I'll explain all that to you in a second. So anyway, as I say, Charlie was a great inspiration in my life, a great role model in my life. He was a beautiful, beautiful man. And I went to see this friend of mine and we done this past life regression. And in one of the past lives, I did 3 past lives with this lady. And in one of them, I was actually an old lady and I had emphysema and I was passing away. When it comes to the end of your past life and you see this, but you don't feel it like you think you were going to feel it. Because I was quite afraid to do this because I was thinking, am I going to feel the emotion and the sadness and even the physical feeling of what someone would feel when they're leaving the body? Because when you're entered into a past life regression, you don't know what this life is going to be like. And you don't know what the end of this life is going to be like, if it's going to be traumatic or if it's going to be peaceful. But one thing I would say to you is you actually don't feel the emotion or the fear or any of the physical symptoms of leaving that past life. So anyway, take you back. Now, this was before the war times and I was an old lady. We didn't have much, but I had 6 amazing kids. And when I came to the end of this journey, the journey had some absolute significant moments in there that I felt like I got some healing from. But when I came to transition and to the end of that life's journey, I actually had all my children around the bed. And as I'm looking at the children, because they all came together, one of them was actually my uncle. And this fascinated me because now I got to know why we had such an amazing connection in this life, because in a previous life, he was actually my eldest son. And that just blew my mind. If you can ever go and have a past life regression, I would suggest to go and get it done. You know, as I always say, I can't tell you how to live your life. However, I found that this experience was hugely beneficial. Now, this isn't just because I seen my uncle and it was like an aha moment of like, oh, wow, now it makes sense of why we're so close, because he was actually my eldest son in a previous life. We were always close and yeah, that just made sense to me. But in the past life journeys that I did, I noticed in every single journey within my life. Now, I can't guarantee that you're going to get healing from this, because obviously I can't guarantee that. But I want to tell you how I got healing from doing these past life regressions. And maybe it can happen for you. Who knows? But this is just my experience. So I wanted to just make that clear. Now, when I was doing these past lives, all of them, each and every one of them, even though I was in different lifetimes and I was always female, but all of them, I had a really bad chest. I had TB, I had emphysema, I had lung cancer. They were all in these past lives. And I've always suffered, or I did always suffer with, I've had pneumonia quite a few times. I had bronchitis on a yearly occasion. And I went and done this past life regression, never thought nothing about the healing side of what a past life regression could bring. And when I came round again, because you go into like a beautiful, deep relaxation, you know, even if you go and do this just for the most amazing meditation that you can have, you feel so relaxed when you come out of it. It's fascinating. Anyway, that was a good enough reason on its own to go and have one of these past life regressions done. However, I didn't know it had a healing property. Now, as the weeks and months went on after these sessions, I noticed I wasn't getting chest infections. I hadn't had my yearly bronchitis stint that I usually had. And touch wood, if you're superstitious, you know, oh, thank God, I actually have not had pneumonia since. And that was many years ago. So I believe that on a subconscious level, or on a soul level, or on a collective consciousness, because we're all connected together, but on a different level consciousness, I'm a believer that I brought these illnesses from previous lives. And by going into these previous lives through a past life regression, somehow my subconscious mind was able to heal this and let it go. So I was fascinated by this. And, I study a lot of things. I read lots and lots of books. And I decided I want to know more about this. So I went and read a lot of books, and I'll put a list of all the books in the show notes. But I read fascinating books and got some really good insight into this, and then decided I wanted to go and study hypnotherapy so that I could do this myself. So that's what I did. Now, although I don't do past life regression sessions now, I did do a few of them and they were fascinating. But what happened with the past life regressions that I was doing with people, they actually take about 3 hours. So I didn't have the time, unfortunately, to bring this into my business. But the ones that I did do absolutely fascinated me and still fascinate me to this day. It changed a little bit for me because it wasn't just about the past lives that I was taking people through. And there was lots of healing brought through that anyway. But it was also when we went into the life between lives, when we went into that place where people passed over into the spirit world. This is the bit that absolutely fascinated me. Well, of course it did. I'm a medium. But this is the bit that fascinated me so much because, when people, they've had near-death experiences and they all say the same thing of what they see. Well, every single person that I worked with, and there was I would say about 30 people, and every single one of them had a same, if not very, 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 very similar experience in the life between lives as what they saw, what they felt, and, what their experience was. And I was blown away that they would describe the same thing. Like people would tell me how they felt very peaceful, how they felt they were in a green field, how they felt every one of them seen a being that they actually didn't recognize, but they felt so connected and loved to this being. And that blew my mind because I know that through the practice that I do, we all have a main spirit guide that walks with us through generations and generations of our lives, of our incarnation upon this earth, that had to be that being of who they seen when they were in this space, this beautiful field, this amazing calm space. Lots of people said that they felt no anger, they felt no sadness, they felt no guilt, they felt no frustration towards people. All the earthbound, egotistical feelings, should I say, what we feel here. Not one person felt that when they passed over to the spirit world. Now, for me, the whole lot of it was fascinating, to be quite fair and to be honest. However, that made me think of all the readings that I do and the people that I see. And a lot of the time, I see people who take their own lives or who are murdered, who are killed in accidents, and they leave their body pretty much straight away. And a lot of us on this earth, we feel guilt for some reason for this. And when our spirit transcends, if you like, back into the spirit world, none of these emotions are felt. So for me, that was a great help, if you like, so that I could relay this information to other people who were really suffering, that were left behind here, that there is no guilt. And the only people that felt that was us. The people or the souls that had returned to the spirit world didn't feel that at all. All they felt was pure love. And this being that they seen, they knew that person. They knew that spirit guide like it was an old, old friend. And the calmness and the connection that our souls have with this old friend was immense. Now, then it brought me on to the thought of, okay, why do we then reincarnate? And I believe that through reading for people and doing the past life regression work, I do believe that we come back to Earth to connect with people who we've been with before, but maybe to learn maybe our lessons, some lessons that we haven't learned, or maybe to help people learn theirs. Now that's a big, deep thought, isn't it? Can some of us actually be here to help people learn their lessons? Now that to me is fascinating, because we can go through this life and there's some horrendous things that happen in this life, and I don't have the answers for everything, you know? Obviously I don't, and I never ever will. You know, none of us will, because we're all walking this walk, trying to learn and trying to walk it in the best possible way that we can. But to me, this journey can be fascinating. And if you allow your heart to open and see what's around you, take your ego out of the way. Because a lot of us do, we think the world revolves around ourselves. And that can be in like self-care, it can be in self-love. And that's okay to a degree. But remember our connection with others and the love that we share with other people. And if you don't get that from somebody, or somebody isn't showing the love for you, take the learnings and take the lessons. Thank that soul or that person for these lessons and for this journey, and move on. This journey was not supposed to be a difficult one. It was supposed to be a learning journey. That's what I've found out through this. As hard as some of the things that have happened in my life even, you know, this journey is a learning journey. And just before I go, I want you to think about all what we've talked about. I don't have all the answers. I just wanted to share with you what I thought reincarnation and past lives was, my take on it really. But I want to leave you with something, and I want to leave you with this thought. Imagine if this life is a dream, and when our physical body dies, we wake up. What would be the learnings you would like to wake up with? It's quite a profound thought. And that's how we should be living our lives. Be good, be kind, and be grateful. Until next time, my friends, have an amazing day. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this show. It's important to note that while I'm here to inspire, encourage and guide you, I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist or a doctor. Join me again in 2 weeks for more captivating revelations on the supernatural. Remember to be in with a chance to have your questions answered on the podcast. Subscribe to my newsletter at amarylord.com. Stay in the tribe to vibe. I appreciate you guys. See you next time.